Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about Joshua, the new leader for the conquest of Canaan from the second book of redemptive history series, The Covenant of the Torch. When the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years, the leader was Moses. However, right before the Israelites entered into the land of Canaan, Moses died in the land of Moab. And in his place, God established Joshua as the new leader of the Israelites. In Joshua chapter 1 verse 2, God says to Joshua, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, cross the Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, to the sons of Israel." First, Joshua was a servant of Moses. In Exodus 24 verse 13 it says, "So Moses arose with Joshua his servant, and Moses went up to the mountain of God." In Exodus 33 verse 11 it says, "When Moses returned to the camp, his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, would not depart from the tent." Here the word servant is in Hebrew sharat, and this means assistant or an aide. During the 40 years in the wilderness, there were over 600,000 men over the age of 20, numbered in both the first and second census. There must have been scholars, wise men, and heroes mightier than Joshua in that count. Nonetheless, God chose Joshua, who was merely a servant of Moses, as the leader of a nation. What was God's reason for this? The reason is that Joshua served Moses, the man of God, faithfully. Also, Joshua only focused on God, who was faithful to his promise. Thus, when the Israelites picked up stones to kill Joshua in their unbelief and grumbling, he boldly shouted, "Do not fear the people of the land of Canaan, for they shall be our prey." And this is in Numbers 14 verses 8 to 10. This shows us that his faith in the covenant did not waver. Also, even as death was threatening him, he held on to his resolute faith and confessed, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And this is in Joshua 24 verse 15. Everyone, the worker God uses and is pleased with is not someone who has worldly knowledge and wealth. Joshua was merely a servant, and he was in a position that seemed insignificant and worthless. However, Joshua was able to boldly confess his faith in God and serve God to the end. I hope that we will have the same faith like Joshua and be the worker that God uses and is pleased with. Second, Joshua completely obeyed the commands of God and carried out the conquest of Canaan. The land of Canaan was not a land that can be easily possessed, that had no inhabitants. In fact, there already were tribes of people that settled in the land of Canaan. And so, this land can only be possessed after battling with the people that were living there and being victorious. God has already told Moses in advance how to conquer the land of Canaan. And Moses passed that word of God to Joshua. And Joshua did everything just as he was commanded through Moses. And he conquered the land of Canaan. This is testified in Joshua 11 verse 15. It says, "Just as the Lord had commanded Moses his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses." Beloved saints, this world is like the wilderness. The path to victory and the path to possess heaven, the spiritual Canaan, is to not rely on myself. Do not rely on my wisdom or knowledge or judgment. Let us believe only in the word of God and obey. Then God himself will fight for us so there will be victory. In Joshua 10 verse 42 it says, "And Joshua captured all these kings and their lands at one time, because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel." So today, let us hold fast to the word of God and obey. And let there only be the work of victory with God fighting for us. I bless in the name of the Lord.